Viewers that tuned in to see today's August 22 episode of Days of Our Lives didn't get to find out what verdict the jury turned in, but rather witnessed Kristen making the ultimate sacrifice for her daughter. EJ and Marlena know that Kristen is innocent and that Rachel is guilty, but everyone remained silent as Kristen was arrested for murder. It all went down just as Leo was about to read the jury's verdict. First, EJ interrupted, then in came Kristen, who announced that she had shot her brother. After she was taken into the judge's chambers, Kristen explained that she hadn't meant to shoot her brother. She only wanted to know what happened to her mother. However, when EJ reached for the gun, it went off. She'd been in shock, that's why she didn't call for help. But now, she was ready to face the music. We're not sure if she expected the judge to say, "Better late than never," and just let her go. But in the end, Kristen was charged and taken away on attempted murder. Marlena and EJ felt her pain. But Brady, well, he felt nothing but rage as he stared at his ex through a jail cell. So, what does this mean for Kristen? Will she head off the canvas and do years behind bars at Statesville? Or will Rachel remember what happened and set her mother free? Or will someone find out the truth and turn all their worlds upside down? Vote your thoughts. As Salem processes the shock of Johnny being exonerated and Kristen confessing to shooting EJ, it's time to take a closer look at how the fallout affects, well, just about everyone on Days of Our Lives. That's where Martha Madison enters the chat to give soap stock. The cracks in their romance began to appear when EJ handed down his ultimate deception in the courtroom after an afternoon delight at the Salem Inn. The budding super couple's love stopped dead in its tracks. That's why we had to ask Madison if there was anything EJ could do to win Belle back, even a tiny morsel of reconciliation. Madison had a very firm answer for us. "I don't think so. The story is going to be told, but I think this is a very clear line in the sand," she says. You know, he was willing to destroy her career, her reputation, to throw innocent people under the bus. I mean, that's as low as you can go. Madison thinks that kind of betrayal is hard to come back from for Belle. It was the last straw in their relationship. EJ had consistently put his personal interests ahead of her legal. Mom, that's where the final clash really comes into play for them. Madison adds, "Belle was okay with all of these events that happened in years past, but I think for her, trust is everything, and she can't trust him. So, that's it for her." It may be the end of the road for Belle and EJ, but Madison promises that Salem will be feeling the impact of the case for a long time to come. The reason I love this story so much is because everyone has a very clear point of view, and everyone's interests are kind of intersecting, she says, and I think that's what makes great storytelling. Just because the trial is over does not mean everything returns to normal for all the parties involved, but it seems to be the end of Belle and EJ. Everybody's relationships change through this story, Madison teases, and I think that's why it's so good. An emotional Kristen watches through the window as Brady and Rachel sit with Sarah inside the pub. At their table, Brady sends his daughter to wash her hands so he can question Sarah about her initial reaction upon hearing that Sophia's baby was a girl. She was uncomfortable, just like she seems now. Is there something she needs to tell him? Sarah reminds him she can't violate HIPAA regulations. Brady takes that to mean there's something she knows. Sean interrupts them with news that the verdict is in, but they already know. Rachel returns and leaps into her Uncle Sean's arms. He shows her pictures of the baboons they saw and updates everyone on Claire, who is doing well after the breakup with Theo. In the courthouse corridor, EJ stresses to Marlena about Kristen not being there yet. She apparently has a foolproof plan to free Johnny, but if she doesn't show, he'll have no choice but to tell the judge that Rachel shot him. As court begins, Judge Dabney calls for the verdict. Leo puffs his chest and struts to her bench. EJ interrupts Leo's reading of the decision, which earns him a reprimand from the judge. But his disruption is nothing compared to Kristen, who bursts into court demanding to be heard. "I'm here to confess I'm the one who shot my brother." A collective gasp travels through the courtroom. The judge calls a recess and orders Kristen to be taken into custody. In the corridor, Marlena worries to EJ that Rachel won't fare any better when her mother goes to prison for a crime she committed. EJ points out she doesn't remember that last part, and she certainly won't be hearing that detail from him. When EJ returns to the courtroom, Leo approaches Marlena and offers encouraging words over her worry about Rachel. In the judge's chambers, Kristen spins a tale to the judge and Belle about how she snapped and grabbed the gun that was on the table. She demanded EJ tell her where her mother was. He reached for the gun, and it went off. She didn't mean to shoot him, but she wiped the gun clean and hid it. She didn't call for help because she was in shock, but now she's ready to take responsibility for what she's done. The judge has Sean called in to arrest Kristen for attempted murder. As he leads her out, Kristen pauses to exchange a fraught look with EJ. EJ returns to the courtroom where the case against Johnny is dismissed. When court's adjourned, Johnny and Chanel share a tender moment. Johnny rebuffs EJ's attempt at congratulations and leaves with his family. Belle tells her ex she's thrilled for Johnny, but she's sorry it happened this way, as is EJ. More than you'll ever know. She too leaves him alone in the courtroom. Back at the pub with Sarah and Brady, Rachel wonders how long they have to wait to hear about Johnny. She prays he doesn't go to jail. Belle arrives as they're about to eat burgers. She reports the good news and pulls Brady outside to tell him Kristen confessed. In a newly designed interrogation room, Sean cuffs Kristen to a chair when Marlena shows up. When he steps out, Marlena sternly tells Kristen she can't do this. Kristen believes this is the only way to keep both Rachel and Johnny safe. Marlena relents. She promises to stay quiet and to take care of Rachel. She doesn't know if Rachel will ever remember the truth, but if she does, she will make sure she gets the help that she needs. Kristen tears up, knowing everyone, including Brady, will hate her for this, but it's a sacrifice she's willing to make. Marlena is impressed by her selfless act. While Johnny and Chanel celebrate his freedom in their bedroom at home, EJ calls Sammy from the Dimera mansion. He's thrilled Johnny's free, of course, but worries he's lost his son for good. After Sean brings Kristen to a jail cell, Brady arrives and scowls at her through the bars. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Leo Stark has managed to get himself elected foreman of the jury in Johnny Dimera's trial. Spoilers suggest that Leo manages to sway the jury in the outcome of the trial. Will Leo get Johnny set free or convicted of shooting his father? While EJ Dimera is at home remembering who actually shot him, Johnny's fate has been handed over to the jury. Leo has managed to be appointed as jury foreman, and Leo is more than ready to go home. Leo wants to get this jury moving and get a verdict to the judge as soon as possible. How long will it be? EJ could stop this right now by making a phone call. However, EJ doesn't want Rachel Black to end up arrested for attempted murder, even though she is the one who shot him. Leo will offer his opinion to the jury. Afterwards, Leo's roommate will have something to say as well. Are these two on the same side or against each other's? Now that EJ knows the truth, it is very important that the judge knows as well. After all, EJ's statement could completely exonerate Johnny. However, Kristen Dimera has gone from accusing EJ of lying to save Johnny, to the realization that Rachel did indeed shoot EJ. Marlena explained that the shooting is why Rachel is having so many problems. Kristen wants to make sure that Rachel is protected, but she had to come up with something before the jury returns. Some spoilers suggest that Kristen will take the blame for EJ's shooting to protect Rachel. After all, wouldn't shooting someone definitely go against CPS warning to Kristen to protect Rachel? How would she ever explain Rachel shooting someone? Rachel has been staying with her father so she could be close to Marlena Evans. Marlena recently took a leave of absence from work, and that is mostly for Rachel, who has just decided to move back home. Will Rachel end up staying with her father and grandmother instead, since Kristen will likely end up in jail? Rachel may need some intensive therapy now that the truth has come out. Rachel doesn't remember shooting EJ, but with everyone else knowing, it is bound to be mentioned. Rachel is also bound to remember it at some point. Will Marlena help Rachel through this without causing any lasting effects? Will Rachel finally remember what happened and face it? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, August 22nd indicate some interesting moments in the land of Salem. A trial comes to a close, while a character is ready to reveal the truth, and someone has questions. What's set to go down on Friday? Time to find out. Days of our lives. Spoilers for Friday, August 22nd. Hint that Johnny Dimera's trial will come to an unexpected close. Duel fans, along with EJ Dimera, finally found out who shot him this week, and it turned out to be little Rachel Black. Now that the truth is out, Johnny will likely be exonerated, but not without a plot twist on the horizon. Across town, EJ will prepare to tell everyone the truth, which is why Johnny's trial will come to an end. With that said, will EJ tell the truth or a different version of it? All arrows point to the idea that Kristen Dimera will decide to take the fall to protect her daughter Rachel. Speaking of, Kristen will have a favor to ask of Marlena Evans. As Brady Black is living with Marlena, perhaps Kristen will ask Marlena to watch over Rachel while she heads to prison. Once again, finally, Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Friday reveal that Brady will question Sarah Horton Kyriakis. Is this about Sophia Choi and her baby? Sarah has been trying to encourage Sophia to come forward and tell the truth about her baby's adoption. However, she has yet to do so. Tate Black has been terribly upset about not getting to meet his baby, whom he thinks is a girl, even though it's a boy. So will Sarah tell Brady the truth? She needs to be careful not to cross a HIPAA line, right? What are you looking forward to most during Friday's show? Comment below. Watch your favorite Peacock soap daily, and check out SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and updates. Days of Our Lives star Stacey Hayduck gave a powerhouse performance this week as she learned Rachel shot EJ. The fallout of the reveal has given fans a lot to talk about, but mostly Hayduck and her acting talent. From the moment EJ told Kristen that Rachel shot him, Hayduck was on fire. In true Kristen fashion, she didn't believe her brother at first. However, once Marlena intervened, the truth rocked Kristen to her core. Hayduck played every single emotion Kristen was feeling with ease, once again proving she's an underrated talent on the show. Kudos to Feuerriegel and Hayduck for the scenes where Kristen and EJ are each fighting to save their own child, while also trying to protect their niece and nephew. Hayduck and Feuerriegel showed every aspect of their complicated Dimera-sibling relationship, including a rarely seen love. The August 26th court scenes, where Kristen confessed and lied her butt off in the judge's chambers, were amazing. Hayduck didn't just have Belle and the judge believe Kristen's guilt. She had us convinced Kristen did it, and we knew the truth. What really did us in was Hayduck's scenes at the police station with Hall. Kristen begging and pleading with Marlena to help Rachel and keep the secret even from Brady was heartbreaking. After everything Kristen has done to Marlena, that moment left us feeling sorry for Kristen, because Hayduck showed the character's fear, love, and vulnerability all to protect her daughter. Fans have been using social media to weigh in on Hayduck's performance too. One ex echoed our sentiments regarding the scenes between Kristen and Marlena. There was even a Reddit thread devoted to giving Hayduck and Feuerriegel their props for hitting it out of the park this week. A different fan on X declared, "Stacey Hayduck is about to teach us what a real actress does with some meaty material. She can portray anything." Hats off to Hayduck, who killed it this week on Days. In a week filled with so many jaw-dropping soap performances, she stood out above the rest. Do you agree with our thoughts on Hayduck's performance? Sound off in the comments section below. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, August 25th. Pick up Friday's cliffhanger with Brady confronting Kristen in jail, wanting to know what the heck just happened, while Marlena comforts Rachel, all the while knowing exactly what just happened. Kristen confessed to shooting EJ in order to protect Rachel, the real culprit. EJ knows, and Marlena knows, but Kristen doesn't want anyone else to know. This includes Brady. Brady, for his part, has lots of questions for his baby mama. Starting with, how could Kristen do this to Rachel? Since Kristen can't explain that she's doing this for Rachel, she'll have to come up with more lies to cover the other lies. Good thing she's a pro. Meanwhile, Marlena has to calm down her granddaughter, reassuring her that her mommy loves her and that she isn't a bad person, without being able to explain how she knows. That doesn't seem very psychologically helpful for anyone. Chad is covering Johnny's trial, and Kristen's confession is obviously big news. Since the new shooter is Chad's sister, He goes to his brother, the victim, for clarification. But EJ isn't about to confess, not even to family. So he hedges and denies. Which, for EJ, is basically just another day. And this is even before EJ finds out that Kat, the woman Chad is kind of circling, is actually a secret agent out to bring down the DiMeras. While EJ snows Chad, Kat delivers all her intel to Rafe. Leo is free from jury duty. Now he can return to his regular life. This includes Gwen, who still does not want to forgive him. Dude really needs to let his one go. He slept with his best friend's husband. Gwen has every right to never speak to him again, and Leo needs to accept that. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of August 25th, 29th, 2025 tease devastated DiMeras and a long-awaited confrontation between teens. Now that Kristen has confessed to shooting her brother, it's turning the DiMera family on its side. The week will start with Brady confronting his ex, while Marlena is left to console a devastated Rachel. Her mother just got arrested for a crime she doesn't remember she actually commit, and only Kristen, Marlena, and EJ know the truth. Now that Holly and Tate are back together, the rekindled relationship is keeping Tate distracted from constantly thinking about the daughter he didn't get to meet. But midweek, the couple are said to have a surprise run-in with Sophia. Sophia has been keeping a major secret about the baby, and whatever happens during this run-in, it will prompt Holly to end the week by confronting her former best friend. Could Holly be on to Sophia's secret? Elsewhere in Salem on Tuesday, Abe will tell Paulina about a new gig. His previous one, resurrecting Body and Soul, didn't quite pan out. So what's the former police commissioner got up his sleeve this time? Meanwhile, Thursday brings Philip and Belle closer now that she's officially done with EJ. It's clear Philip wants her back, but EJ may not let her go that easily. The trial of Johnny DiMera has everyone on Days of Our Lives, as well as the fans, worried about the outcome. Soap viewers are very familiar with courtroom drama, and this case has more twists than Stefano's secret tunnels under Salem. But the court drama seems to have spilled over into the real world with hilarious results. A video was posted to the Days Instagram page with the caption, "The hottest trial of the year is almost over, but Salemites are still objecting to all the unnecessary things. What do you object to? Drop your wildest objections below." In the video, cast members got up and shared their own objections, creating more chuckles than closing arguments. Martha Madison stated, "I object to Sean, Brandon Beamer, being with Jada. Objection." Then, Ilya Cantu said, "I object to anyone thinking I won't protect what's mine." She then took off one shoe and pretended to throw it at the camera person, saying, "Gotcha!" A seated Paul Telfer remarked, "I object to people wondering whether or not I have a heart." After a moment of reflection, he added, "Course I do." And Johnny reconciliation possible? And next on the objections list was Lindsay Godfrey, who hilariously stated in one word, Xander. After that, Johnny himself, Carson Boatman, said his objection was to Johnny getting arrested. Meanwhile, Cherie Jimenez stated, "I object to being underestimated, especially in heels." Eric Martsolf had a concern that most people share with the statement, "I object to people going 48 in the fast lane. Stop it. Go to the other one. I need to get around you." And Abigail Klein's response was, "When your love life turns into a triangle, or in my case, a pentagon." The fans loved it, with one sharing a response that was close to Boatman's and Martsolf's hearts, responding, "I object to the Day Players Band not coming to Huntsville. AL. Dual spoiler alert, here's your sneak peek at what's happening in Salem from Monday, August 25th to Friday, August 29th, 2025. Stream Peacock every weekday to see how everything plays out on Days of Our Lives. Brady confronts Kristen. EJ tries to throw Chad off the scent. Leo has a frosty run-in with Gwen. Kat clues Rafe in. Marlena consoles a devastated Rachel. Belle warns Philip. Alex and Jada share an awkward encounter. Stephanie and Xander discuss her PR plan. Ari demands answers from Gabby. Abe reveals to Paulina that he's got a new gig. Kayla makes a suggestion to Stephanie. Brady shares his suspicions with Steve. Alex apologizes to Sarah. Tate and Holly have a surprise run-in with Sophia. Gabby takes matters into her own hands. Alex advises Xander. Philip and Belle bond. Johnny and Chanel's romantic plans get interrupted. Sarah vents to Marlena. Holly confronts Sophia. Kayla gives Steve a hint. Brady gets unsettling news. Kat asks EJ for a job. Days of Our Lives sees Chanel Dupree. Was so disappointed when Johnny Dimera told her he wasn't ready to adopt Tate Black's and Sophia Choi's then unborn baby. However, with the trial behind them by the end of this week, everything could change. I'm wondering if we're going to get a twist where they end up adopting Tate and Sophia's baby, who is now known as Little Tesoro, the treasure. We're going to take a look at what is next for Johnny and Chanel. All right, this whole ordeal with everything Johnny found out about EJ Dimera has been really hard on him. This includes the awful stuff about what EJ did to Sammy Brady, and the fact that Johnny is the product of a non-consensual situation between Sammy and EJ. That led Johnny to hold a gun on his dad. Then, that situation led to an attempted murder trial. He and Chanel have really been going through it for many months now. Not only is Johnny freedom at stake, but that deep fake video made Chanel look bad too. It could have gotten her arrested. Right now, the jurors are deliberating. That means this week, Johnny and Chanel lives hang in the balance. The trial is going to take a twist in Johnny's favor at the very last moment, right before the verdict is read. The charges have to be dropped because Kristen Dimera is going to confess to shooting EJ Dimera to save Rachel Black from juvie and more trauma. So, with the trial in their rearview mirror, will Johnny and Chanel reconsider their life plans? Will Johnny decide he's finally ready to start a family? They think Sophia's baby has already been adopted back in Chicago. But Chanel and Johnny also know there's an adorable foster baby in town living with Javi Hernandez, Leo Stark, and Rafe Hernandez. The baby, Tesoro, is of course really Sophia and Tate's baby. We all know he's adorable, and Sophia really doesn't want to take back what she did, giving up the baby. EJ's reputation was a big issue for Amy Choi when it came to considering Johnny and Chanel as the couple that she might let adopt her unborn grandchild. If you recall, Amy and Sophia were over at the Dimera mansion when Gabby Hernandez burst into the room. She pulled a gun on EJ. She was ranting about him kidnapping Rafe. Of course, that didn't sit well with Johnny because she was ranting about his dad. This was just more things for him to feel awful about. It flat out stunned Amy and Sophia, who was desperate for her mom's approval so Johnny and Chanel would take her baby. Then, Chanel was finally able to smooth things over with Amy. DA Belle Black drew up adoption papers, and they were all ready to sign them. But then Johnny told Chanel he wasn't ready to become a father. Johnny felt like, with EJ's DNA in him, he'd be a bad dad. He thought he wasn't worthy of being a father, which was super sad. After some time and consideration and a short breakup, Chanel agreed with Johnny they could wait to start their family. But maybe, just maybe, their wait is over soon. You'll recall Sophia secretly gave birth to her baby and dropped him off at the Salem fire station. Tate and Sophia are both struggling now on Days of Our Lives. She's having a hard time keeping the truth from Tate while he pushes Sophia about never getting to meet their newborn. Plus, time is just about up for Tate or Sophia to reclaim Tesoro before he is put into the system. Javi and Leo are only short-term foster parents, but once the baby becomes a ward of the state, he will be eligible for adoption or placement in a permanent foster home. While I think Javi would love to adopt baby Tesoro with Leo, they just aren't in a position to do that right now. They're not married, don't own their own home, and haven't been dating very long. It seems like a long shot that they would get approved. With the shocking end of the trial and the charges dropped against Johnny, maybe he and Chanel will celebrate Johnny's new lease on life by moving forward with an adoption. In fact, Chanel and Johnny may want to start a family ASAP. A couple of things could happen that set it up for Chanel and Johnny to adopt Tesoro. First, Sophia's time to reconsider giving up her baby has just run out. That means Tesoro should be up for adoption. Chanel and Johnny could just work within the system, and they wouldn't even know they were adopting Sophia and Tate's baby. Or, Tate Black could learn the truth. Brady Black is kind of pressuring Sarah Horton this week, and she's kind of pressing Sophia. So Tate may still be okay with leaving his son with foster parents for now. Maybe Tate goes back to his cousin Johnny and his wife Chanel to ask them to rethink this. He could ask them to please adopt the baby. That way, Tate can still be part of Tesoro's life as the boy grows up. Tate can see his son while also moving on with his college plans, and Sophia can pursue all the things she wants to do. With Johnny cleared of attempted murder charges this week, the time could be right for Chanel's dreams to come true. She might finally get to be a mom. Dr. Sarah Horton told Chanel that her latest test results mean she still can't try to get pregnant herself. Right now, adoption is the only way for Johnny and Chanel to have a baby and start a family. Of course, a lot of things need to fall into place before adoption talks are back on the table for Johnny and Chanel. In the end, I think it would be fantastic if Johnny could just forget about the trial and put his dad EJ awful antics behind him. Johnny should focus on what he and Chanel want for themselves. They need to focus on how they want their marriage to proceed and think really long and hard about what their future together looks like. Does their future include adopting? Does it include adopting a baby or a toddler? Or maybe someone a little older? Given how young they are, I would assume they would want a baby. But it would definitely be fantastic if things worked out for all of them. Tate and Sophia would know their baby Tesoro is in a good home. Johnny and Chanel could make the dream come true of starting a family. Johnny would make his wife Chanel so happy if he agreed they could adopt this baby, whether they know it's Tate and Sophia baby or not. I think all of this would help Chanel get past her frustration over the fact that she keeps being denied the chance to start a family through natural pregnancy. We could very well see big life changes for all four of them: Chanel, Johnny, Tate, and Sophia. By the time winter sets in Salem, we might see a fresh start. I will say one thing: if Johnny did move ahead and adopt a baby, I think it would either push him further apart from EJ because he wouldn't understand how EJ could make the choices he makes, knowing that it could affect his kids' lives. Or it could make Johnny soften toward EJ as he sees what it means to be a dad and to want to protect your child at all cost.